Ricardo Menéndez March.
That's the one. Throughout this debate on the resignation of Andrew Bailey, I think I have two key points that I want to communicate. The first one is that I think what people are expecting us to do is to do better. I think it's a disservice actually to workers, whether it's in the beehive or out in the streets, to see actually political point scoring on a debate that actually is related to an incident that involved a complainant and a worker who was not treated in the way I think any of us would expect or aspire to. And so it is disappointing to see the government side being unable to take it on the chin, to acknowledge that what the former minister did was wrong, and then to simply actually send a message of aspiration and standards to what we should all rise up to, which is actually just treating workers with the respect and dignity that they deserve. But at the end of the day, the chairs may change. We may have a new minister in charge of Andrew Bailey's portfolios, but the premise actually remains the same. And that is that working people, whether inside or outside the beehive, are simply collateral damage to this government's agenda. Because the incident with Andrew Bailey speaks to a broader culture in relationship to how the government speaks in relationship to working people. Whether it's calling today parents lazy for simply not having the means to provide decent lunches for their kids, calling people on the benefit bottom feeders, or undermining the right of workers to fight for better pay and including safer working conditions, which those safer working conditions many workers aspire to could include actually better work and safety guidelines in the workplace to prevent harmful engagements between themselves and, for example, people in positions of authority and power. So ultimately, I think, for us, the issue isn't resolved here. It's resolved when we actually see a change of culture and approach to working people from the government. Because I do not expect that the new person holding Andrew Bailey's portfolios will suddenly bring a shift of culture when it comes to how working people are treated and spoken about. I do want to pick up on some of the comments from the Right Honourable Chris Hipkins in relationship to questions that remain in regards to the transparency and communications of this news. I do think the government needs to step up and provide greater clarity and transparency when it comes to the series of events. I think some of the questions that have been raised are simple ones. It's a matter of timelines, a matter of when the resignation was offered, and a matter of simply being able to provide clear answers. The other thing that I was quite shocked and disappointed by is that in the comments from the National Party minister, we did not see a single mention of the complainant or the parties affected by these incidents. And instead, we saw a range of political attacks. But at the core of it, we have workers who, through no fault of their own, have been dragged out into the public on a very, very public incident that has led to a minister's resignation. These are workers who didn't choose to show up to work to end up being in the news in relationship to a government minister resigning. And I think the least the government side could do is to pay tribute and acknowledge the complainants that have led to Andrew Bailey's resignation, to at the very least wish them well, and to at the very least commit to some level of accountability. We haven't seen that. And so it is concerning when we have these serious incidents that lead to a minister of the Crown resigning, when at the core we have workers, that political attacks are put before the well-being of those workers affected. So with that, the Greens will continue to do the mahi so that all of us take accountability for the well-being of workers in this place and outside these four walls.